I found myself unjustly expelled from the house following a confrontation with my mother-in-law, Michelle. This unfortunate incident occurred after she sustained an injury, prompting an urgent trip to the hospital where my husband Frank and I rushed to her side. However, to my shock, I was met with baseless accusations, leading to my expulsion from the family. Despite having no memory of wrongdoing, all eyes, including those of my husband and father-in-law Walter, turned disapprovingly toward me. Subsequently, with guidance from a trusted confidant, I uncovered a shocking truth about Michelle. My name is Linda, a 35-year-old housewife married to Frank for a decade. As someone who tends to stay at home due to a lack of many friends, I recount our journey from college sweethearts to a couple facing challenges in conceiving. Initially desiring children, we abandoned the idea after grappling with infertility. The emotional and financial toll of unsuccessful treatments led us to decide against continuing the pursuit of parenthood. This decision initiated discussions about cohabiting with my in-laws, despite my initial reservations. Though not entirely enthusiastic about the arrangement, I believed it might be tolerable, given that my in-laws, Michelle and Walter, didn't seem like bad people. Living together came with the condition that Frank would consistently support me. Given Michelle and Walter's age, I shouldered the majority of household chores, adhering to their schedule by waking up at 5 a.m. I prepared breakfast and lunch according to their individual routines, engaged in daily cleaning, and occasionally drove them to the hospital in my spare time. Despite my dedication, a turning point occurred when I overheard a conversation between Michelle and Walter. On a day when I had plans to share lunch with a friend, I left the house early after preparing a meal for my in-laws. While enjoying lunch at a cafe, my friend had to leave abruptly, causing me to part ways earlier than intended. Rather than taking a detour, I proceeded directly home after completing grocery shopping for dinner. Upon completing my shopping, I thought my elderly in-laws would feel more at ease with me at home. As I entered through the front door and made my way to the living room, I passed a hallway leading to their bedroom. The door, usually kept closed, was slightly ajar that day, allowing snippets of their conversation to filter out. Initially uninterested in their dialogue, my curiosity was piqued when I heard my name. Leaning closer to the door, I was met with a barrage of shocking words. They were discussing my habit of going out for lunch with friends, implying that despite being a full-time homemaker, I led a carefree life without Frank. Questions about why Frank married me surfaced, and criticisms were voiced, including Frank's about my cooking and perceived unrefined demeanor. This revelation shattered my assumption that they harbored no dislike toward me, as Frank had never mentioned any such sentiments. Realizing their negative perception made subsequent interactions awkward. Despite continuing with my usual chores, conversations dwindled, and confiding in Frank seemed challenging. Confronting the in-laws appeared futile, as denial would likely follow. Things took a darker turn when my mother-in-law's cherished necklace went missing, and shockingly, I was blamed. Demanding a search of my room, I complied, confident of my innocence. However, Michelle's necklace mysteriously appeared in a drawer containing my jewelry. Convinced of foul play, I asserted she had always eyed my possessions with envy, but the search yielded only the missing necklace. From that day onward, I felt ostracized and treated like a thief. Family members distanced themselves, unwilling to hear my explanations. Matters worsened as my mother-in-law spread rumors about me stealing her necklace and tarnishing my reputation in the neighborhood. Despite the necklace being found in her room, she persisted in denying it, perpetuating the talk and isolating me further. Leaving the house, I was met with icy stares, and life continued in this uncomfortable manner for a while. Typically, I would stay home, indulging in my crafting hobby and engaging in conversations with my in-laws. However, recently, being at home has become increasingly awkward. Instead, after preparing breakfast for the in-laws in the morning, I started spending more time outside, passing the hours at diners or comic book stores until Frank returned from work. One day, Frank urgently called, informing me that his mother had been hospitalized. "Where are you? Mom fell down some stairs at a pedestrian bridge and got injured. Please come to the nearest hospital from the house. Dad and I will be with Mom," Frank hurriedly explained before hanging up. Luckily, I was close to the hospital at that moment, taking only about 6 minutes to reach it on foot. After quickly finishing some errands, I briskly walked to the hospital where my mother-in-law had been taken. Inquiring with a nurse about her room, I headed there with an ominous feeling. Upon opening the door, everyone present turned to look at me with sharp, hostile gazes, as if I were a villain. My mother-in-law pointed at me and exclaimed, "How dare you!" When I asked what was happening, she accused me of pushing her down the stairs near the pedestrian bridge. I tried to explain that it wasn't me, but my husband and father-in-law interrupted, expressing disbelief in my capability of such an act. Without the opportunity to defend myself, it was decided that I would be ousted from the family, and Frank declared we would divorce. Leaving the hospital before my husband and father-in-law, I felt lost. The turn of events was unforeseen, and with my parents living far away, moving my belongings there would be a significant effort. Moreover, my parents were strict, and I was unsure of their reaction to the news of my impending divorce. However, in that moment, I believed they were the only ones I could rely on. On my way home from the hospital, I called my mother saying, "I'm sorry, but I'm going to get a divorce and I want to come back for a while. Is that okay?" Sensing something was amiss from the tone of my voice, my mother replied, "Okay, I understand. I'll tell your father. Just pack what you can for tomorrow. We'll rent a large vehicle and come over." Upon arriving home, I packed my belongings as per my mother's instructions. Unable to take everything, I left behind the furniture, packing my clothes, accessories, and mementos in boxes. Among them was a photo of my husband and me. Unsure whether to keep it, I contemplated our past love and the potential for happiness that now seemed irretrievable. Despite my emotions, I knew there was no turning back. Convinced that he would contact a divorce lawyer soon, I resolved to discard all pictures of my husband. The next day, my parents arrived in a large truck capable of carrying all my belongings. "Long time no sees. You probably didn't sleep well last night. I'll drive, so you just rest in the car," my mother reassured me. My father embarked on the long 6-hour journey by himself. Although he suggested I get some sleep, tears streamed down my face in the back seat. Overwhelmed by my parents' kindness, I wasn't sure if they noticed, but they, sitting in the front, didn't say a word to me. After about 4 hours, we made it back home safely. Eager to understand the situation, my parents asked, "I know you're tired, but could you tell us a bit more about what happened? You haven't done anything wrong, right? Given the situation, there's a chance you could be arrested, so I really want you to tell us everything." Looking for more details, they encouraged me to explain the accusations of stealing my mother-in-law's necklace and the subsequent accusation of pushing her down the stairs. "That's a lie, right? Why would anyone make up such a story?" my parents questioned. I shared my belief that someone might be harassing me or attempting to cover up an accident by blaming me. Although my father's theory seemed plausible, I had always considered such scenarios as fictional, confined to TV shows or movies. With no official complaint filed, I just wanted a peaceful divorce. However, it seemed my parents held different thoughts on the matter. I want to clarify that I am not the cause of Michelle's injury. Someone else pushed her down the stairs. I apologize for the late introduction. I am Linda's attorney, as mentioned in this document. Linda was in a different location on the day you testified that she was pushed down the stairs. We have already verified the truth with security camera footage. If you would like, I can show you the footage. There was another person visible near the stairs beside you. Michelle, when the attorney explained that much, Michelle quickly pulled the document towards herself. "What the heck is this? Just when I thought you'd suddenly show up, this is all in the past. I said I'd forgive you, so please don't bring it up anymore." Michelle was clearly panicking, but both Frank and Walter seemed suspicious. "Why are you so flustered? If Mom didn't do anything wrong, you should be confident about it." "That's right, we're on Michelle's side after all," they reassured. Despite their words, Michelle's face grew paler. "Aren't you too curious about who pushed Michelle down the stairs? I do wonder who would do such a thing to my dear wife. I won't forgive them." Ignoring Michelle's attempt to stop me, I continued. "It was Michelle's affair partner, her lover. Michelle had been infatuated with him for some time. He was a bartender, and Michelle had gone into debt just to lavish money on him. However, no matter how much money she gave him, he never truly belonged to her." Frustrated, Michelle confronted him, and that confrontation took place at the top of those stairs. Even though Michelle didn't own the man, reports indicate there was a physical relationship between them. It seems Michelle was waiting for the man to leave his bartender job, but he showed no signs of leaving and often went out with other customers. In a fit of anger, the man allegedly pushed her down the stairs. Realizing the gravity of his actions, he tried to help Michelle, but she said, "It's okay. We'll say my daughter-in-law did this. You should go home." Unable to approach the police for this particular investigation, they had no choice but to hire a private investigator. Clear pictures capturing the two and presenting the evidence to the police led to an immediate investigation. The man was arrested, and during interrogation, he confessed everything that transpired between him and Michelle on the staircase. "Tell me it's a lie. Please say it isn't true. Cheating, huh? You're the worst," Frank reacted, realizing there's no escaping the truth. Michelle immediately began to apologize, saying, "I'm sorry, I was just so lonely." Frank, in disbelief, responded, "What do you mean lonely? I've always been there for you. We're getting a divorce. I won't entertain any excuses." Once Michelle was exposed, she faced an immediate decision to divorce. Despite her desperate attempts to salvage the relationship with Walter, he was too enraged to listen. Frank was shocked to learn of his mother's infidelity and regarded Michelle with disgust. Furthermore, the substantial debt Michelle accumulated to indulge her lover amounted to around $2,000. an amount impossible to repay with her pension alone. Michelle, not inclined to save money, faced the daunting prospect of a lengthy repayment period. When she pleaded with Frank for help, he retorted, "Are you kidding me? Because of your lies, I divorced Linda. I'm not giving you a single dime for the money you borrowed for your lover." Ultimately, Michelle faced both divorce and being disowned by Frank. Unable to repay the money and left without a place to stay, Michelle sadly returned to her own home to pay off the debt as soon as possible. Michelle's elder brother, who took over the family house, assumed responsibility. However, she remained isolated until she repaid all the money to him. Michelle couldn't freely go outside, and any pension she received was ordered to be given to her brother. I imagine she regrets involving herself with that man and harassing me. Although I haven't seen Michelle since then, it's reported that she, once youthful-looking, has aged considerably. Despite daily mental torment by those four, I managed to obtain a small amount in damages. Whenever I spoke to them, I ensured a voice recorder was on, amassing enough evidence for later damage claims. Despite numerous messages and voicemails from Frank expressing a desire to reconcile, I won't get back to him. Even though he promised to always be on my side when we moved in together, just the thought of being with Frank, who couldn't keep that single promise, gives me the creeps. I'm convinced that if we were together in the future, I'd discover more unpleasant things about him, and I'd end up being the one hurt. It seems Frank and Walter are living together, but with Michelle and me gone, their house is said to be filled with a cold atmosphere. Walter, not very strong health-wise, requires regular hospital visits. Frank juggles his job, housework, and driving Walter to and from the hospital, making it quite tough for him. I receive daily messages from him detailing his struggles, but I often discard them without reading them. Since my divorce from Frank, I've been relishing my single life. I successfully secured a new job and realized my dream of becoming a beauty advisor, an aspiration I had long neglected while caring for Frank and my in-laws. During a period away from my in-laws, I visited a department store's cosmetics section, where I received valuable advice on enhancing my beauty and boosting my confidence. This was the first time I felt truly confident, and I attribute a significant part of my transformation to the beauty advisor at that time. Inspired by this experience, I decided to pursue a career as a beauty advisor, hoping to inspire others as I was inspired. While the job involves many behind-the-scenes tasks and challenges, I find it fulfilling. As a beauty advisor, I've received numerous compliments on my appearance and have started to attract attention from men. Recently, a man approached me at a cafe, and we've been on several dates since. After confessing his feelings, we officially started dating. Unlike Frank, he's always supportive and the first to lend a hand when I'm in need. 4 years post-divorce from Frank, and as I approach 39, I've been contemplating the idea of remarrying. However, my primary focus remains on becoming someone I'm proud of and continually improving myself. I genuinely wish that women with feelings like mine would be more confident and speak up without fear.